What's up, Frothings? As I'm sure you can tell, we got a lot of snow. It's 14 degrees out right now. But right as the snowstorm came in, I came home from filming, unfortunately, only one of the two videos I wanted to film yesterday. And I had the Climo discs sitting, just hanging out in the freezing cold as the snow was really coming down. So I got some chicken, I got a grill, and that'll keep me warm out here. But I also wanted to talk about this goodness. Oh yeah, that's nice. I got like a little portable grill since we'll be traveling a bit and then potentially moving. Big old thing of propane, and so I'm just excited. I feel like a real dad now that I have it. Well, wait for this to warm up so I can throw the chicken on. Beauty. Let's take a look at this Climo disc golf stuff. It's just gonna be unboxing and first impressions because I obviously can't throw them right now as it got really freezing. Let me change the color of this light. This is so yellow. Oh, that's the wrong switch. Okay, that's more normal daylight. But I went out to my local shop, one of them here, called Fly Green, and picked up, you're gonna barely be able to see it, this was used, but I wanted a star version. You can probably see Ken Climo Star Wraith somewhere if I shine the light on it. Just right, there you go, Wraith. Underneath it's gonna say 12 time, Ken Climo Star Wraith. Picked this up from the used section because all the new ones were champ wraiths, and it looks like it's more of an opaque plastic that the new stuff came in. But I also, just by looking on Instagram and seeing what the Climo discs look like, and the flight numbers 11.4-1.3 for the driver, and then straight mid-range, which I just got his KC Pro Rock, which Ken Climo is KC, and so I got his KC Pro Rock right here, and the KC Pro AVR, because the disc was a straight putter with a bead. 2300, which sounds a little straighter, and I am wondering if, since this is used, it might fly most similar to these, because these bad boys are new, and typically you think of KC Pro discs, you think of them seasoned a little bit. So when I actually go and film my video, hopefully sometime next week, and I'm able to get it up, I will be playing the new ones against the new ones just to see if these are like beat-in versions of these discs, which is what I'd imagine Ken Climo would want. Also kind of ironic, we're renting this place obviously, but this is from before we got here. It's just how it's been. I got this like last week. Oh man, I cannot wait. At the end, I'll show you how my chicken grilled. I am not a grill master by any stretch of the imagination. For one, fun branding. I have seen people say that the C kind of looks like the Culver's C, but I like the kind of silhouette, like shadowed face. But I'm assuming they sent all the discs, and there's a little note in here as well. So, hey there, congratulations, you're one step closer to discovering your inner champion. I have needed this, so this is gonna be good. Ooh, let's see if I can read this through the back. These discs are a piece of Ken Climo history, a tribute to the past, and a symbol of new beginnings. Now I'm just gonna read it because reading it through the light is really hard. When designing these molds, I drew, oh, this is from Ken. I drew from countless throws throughout my career, from my first toss as a kid with a Frisbee on Bel Air Street. Funny, I was gonna wonder why the mid-range is called the Bel Air, to my 9 straight world titles in the 90s. Dang, I was born 98. I don't remember if he won worlds that year, but maybe that means I'm going to become a champion. And my last major victory in 2015. Wow, that's recent. By supporting Climo Disc Golf, you're adding to your disc golf journey and becoming part of the next chapter in mine. But this is just the start. So make sure to follow along to see what's next. Your support means the world to me, Ken Climo. That came also with a note that has some information in it. This is from Dana Vici. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name. He used to work at Discmania, I believe. Now he is the brand manager, I think, for Climo, sales and brand manager. It says, what you're holding is the very first set of Climo Disc Golf prototypes. The Champ is 2300 putter, the Bel Air 5402, and the Skyway 11.4-1.3. We thought you might like to give these a toss. Feel free to share your thoughts online. Be sure to give us a tag or request a collaboration. You're welcome to share content immediately. Now, oh yeah, smoking nice. Could you hear my baby screaming inside? She's a little pterodactyl nowadays. Actually, that's probably not the best idea to put some cardboard next to the chicken I'll be grilling. We'll have 2 left for later. Beautiful. Love this grill because it's got like the little grates in the bottom that like smoke so the juices get brought up. Judgment-free zone, but this is what we're looking at, baby. So let's look at the prototypes. First, I have the putter in pink, and I got some chicken beautifulness on my hands. Little Climo sticker. I never do anything with the stickers, but it's fun to have. The Champ 2300, and it's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see what is similar to Discraft plastic versus like not. And this does seem to be kind of, I don't know, it's not quite Discraft's putter plastic that I felt before. It's interesting. I think I saw on Instagram another round who called it like old Castoplast plastic, maybe only for the other ones. But let's take a look at this compared to this bad boy. The new putter is a bit more streamlined than the old one, just ever so slightly here. Just not quite as chunky in the hand, a little bit thinner profile, still beaded. This actually, I do prefer how this feels, the Climo putter, the Champ, to the KC Pro Aviar. The plastic's also a little bit tackier than the KC Pro Aviar. I'm interested to see how they fly differently. This being a little blunter, I'd imagine maybe is slightly more overstable, but they look like they'll be relatively similar. The shoulder is just a bit lower on the Champ, so that's pretty fun. One disc down. Second prototype we have in blue, and it is the Bel Air 5402 for this bad boy. It looks really nice. It's interesting because Discraft doesn't really have a star-like plastic. Little Z or maybe Big Z are kind of similar in a way, but this really feels like star, or at least like good runs of star plastics that I felt before. I could see like the trilogy slash like, or I guess not trilogy, but old Castoplast, maybe. I've never really thrown any of that, but this prototype mid-range, the Bel Air, has a really good feel to it. It feels a little lower profile. It doesn't feel big. Sometimes I pick up a rock or like an Inca from Infinite and it feels massive. Oh yeah, these are looking good. I'm so bad at knowing like the timing of when to flip these and stuff. So I just have a thermometer to make sure it gets to like 155, 160 degrees so that when it's resting it gets up to 165. But this versus the KC Pro Rock, oh, these are very, very similar. Obviously, you got the snow there, but you'll probably be able to see these profiles are not quite identical. There's a little bit more of like a roundness of that shoulder. This is more like smooth of a transition. This is a little more abrupt of a transition in that shoulder. And this is also domier, and the KC Pro plastic is stiffer in this cold, freezing cold, 14 degrees out. This feels really good. It feels like a solid beaded mid-range. It looks like a lower profile MD4. Yeah, I imagine that's what it's gonna fly like, 5402, probably a little straighter than an MD4, but really solid. So there's two, and now, for the moment of truth, the Skyway. I don't know what Skyway means. Ooh, this feels small in my hand, and just looking at the plastic, this kind of is reminiscent of a Discraft ESP kind of style. Sometimes like these rings are very Discraft ESP-y to me, but it doesn't quite feel like that. It does feel more, it's like if you married like a star plastic with an ESP plastic, I think. It is a little see-through though. Not super, but like a little bit more light travels through it than I thought. And I have this Wraith, which is domier, way domier than this. Even the Champ Wraiths were domier. This, I bet, will be really good on my sidearm because it feels like a 10.5 speed, honestly, to me. Actually, it's pretty similar to the Wraith, but this does feel smaller. Maybe it's the way that the rim is configured. Side by side, it's a little more bladed than the Wraith. Otherwise, very similar. Again, this transition is a little more abrupt in the Wraith than it is on the Skyway, the Climo disc. But this is kind of what we're looking at. It's pretty interesting. I bet it's going to fly really well. The 4 glide is interesting because typically you think of 5 or 6 glide with drivers, especially straighter drivers, which might mean that this is supposed to go a little less far than other 11 speeds, like a Grace or a Wraith. You haven't seen it yet, actually. It'll be coming out sometime early next week. I compared Grace, Wraith, and Photon from MVP as I'm kind of bringing back series on the main channel of 3 disc comparisons. Oh, Bogey is having her time in there. But yeah, it's also not quite as stiff as this plastic, even though I brought them both out at the same exact time. The Star is stiffer than this plastic, and all these feel incredibly good. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Climo discs and what other discs they decide to start trying to come out with. Whew. It definitely seems like a cool project that Climo has been working on, and a fitting way for him to be kind of remembered in the sport. I have not been in disc golf very long. Actually, it's kind of funny. Today exactly is my 3-year anniversary of the first round that I ever played of disc golf. I wasn't able to get out and play for hopefully quite obvious reasons, but some of these are getting close, some of these are not. I think that's why thermometer is kind of OP. Well, this upper right seems to be definitely the hot spot of the grill. Look how beautiful this guy looks though. Oh, look at it steaming. That is so cool. Oh my, that is sick. Yeah, so this is my 3rd year anniversary, literally today, of the first time I ever like touched a disc and played around a disc golf. So I wasn't really around at all for Climo, and he was such like a semi-mythical figure where, I didn't really see him ever at tournaments. You never really heard about him playing at all because he just wouldn't play. He, I think, got burned decently bad from like his Innova deal. From what I've heard, like he had this, he was in a position financially where he felt like he had to sell his rights to naming on the disc. So instead of getting a commission per disc whenever it was sold through Innova, and you see them all over stores because he's the 12-time world champion, instead he sold kind of future rights for a lump sum in a moment. I don't know what happened personally, and frankly, it doesn't quite matter to me, but it's cool to see him getting a new beginning and to hear some of the interviews and snippets that I've heard of him just being like, yeah, Innova just said, like, all right, head on out, which from Innova's perspective kind of does make sense. Like, it wouldn't make sense for them, frankly, to, like, financially, business-wise, give him a matching deal when he did sign his rights away. The, like, moral ideas or, like, do you think that's right or wrong? It's going to be different than the business perspective on that. But it's cool to see Discraft kind of rounding out their icon team with Kale coming back, with Climo going to them, some rumors of other things that are happening that I genuinely, I don't care that much about player movement, and so I don't ask or think about it, even though I'm friends with some people and might be able to get some inside information. So I literally don't know anything more than you guys know. But it's cool to see what's happening with the Climo brand, and I really do hope that it has some longevity because he is a legend of the sport, he wasn't able to kind of bring about these bigger projects when he was competing. Disc golf was much smaller also when he was competing. And I'm excited too because he seems to have a reinvigorated passion for disc golf, where he's now going to be going more to events or places. He's not going to be playing, but now he has a brand to uphold and to grow. The finances of kind of this deal, we've heard, are $200,000 plus a year. Who knows if that's actually the case? Climo kind of denied it, I saw on a podcast, or said that it was wrong. Maybe that means it's higher, maybe that means it's lower. Literally, who knows? But it's really cool to see because I want to be able to meet Ken. I would love to be able to film a video with him. So Ken, if you're watching, or someone from your team, at some point I would love to be able to, I'll be going to some Pro Tour events. If you're there, I would love to meet up because the history of disc golf will likely have a lot of insights as to how to move it forward. And to see someone who spanned such a long time horizon and been the most successful, like, decorated person in our sport now coming back, I think is only right. So I'm really excited for these discs. I'm excited to go out and throw them. I've heard Yuli said that some of these are already like planning on making his bag. Not quite sure. Of course, my bag isn't set, and I kind of doubt any of these would make the bag. But that Skyway feels really good on my forehand, and I love how small it is. And with smaller hands, sometimes forehands are much easier for me to throw with 11 speeds, I think, than 12 speeds. So I guess we'll see. Wraith, Grace, Skyway, Czar from Infinite. There's a lot of opportunities or options that I have. But seeing the champ come back into the sport and hopefully continue to make his mark and increase his legacy, I think it's well-deserved. I think not knowing much about him, but being so heavily invested for the last 2.5 years since I started my channel, and thank you guys for letting all of it grow and to give me any sort of influence. I feel insanely lucky. And so I think it's only right that Climo in today's day and age is able to continue to honestly like rebuild his legacy in a sense, because I had to really dig out information on him, and now it seems like it's going to be a little more readily available, and I think that's only right. So I'll link these on Infinite if they are there. I think right now they're just being sold as prototypes, but as the stock runs come out, I'll link Climo Disc Golf on Infinite, and I'm really excited. So thanks for going with me. I'll show you what this looks like in the light when it gets a little warmer, because I'm certifiably cold. Whew. But the chicken's almost done. Let's get one more smoking piece for you. This big boy up here. Oh yeah, perfect time to take it off. Look at this bad boy. Whew. Look at that dude. Oh yeah. See how that boy looks. Want to do a taste test, babe?
so good.
I love having a grill.
I love you having a grill.
I'm a real dad, right, baby boogie? Dear baby Nix. Peace.